That's Nick.
And that's Joseph, and today we're here to talk about Zeroville, the new film directed by James Franco, which opened in theaters September 20th, and concurrently is competing for the coveted Golden Seashell at the San Sebastian Film Festival, which also kicked off on the 20th.
That doesn't sound like a real award.
It totally is. It's quite notable.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I'm not lying.
So I didn't know anything about this movie or the book it's based on. I didn't know there was a book.
I've been dreading watching it because I am a big fan of the book, the 2007 novel of the same name by Steve Erickson.
Is the quote from the beginning, "What's on your chest"?
No, that's from a different Elizabeth Taylor movie.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you should do the bulk of the talking, but I'll just say that having watched the film, not knowing anything about it, I assumed it was a comedy. So, well, I don't know. Is it classified as a comedy?
I think what currently exists could be classified as comedy, but the novel is not.
It's not. It's very clear. The story was written by someone who loves film.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But you can take it away.
It wasn't.
I enjoyed it enough.
Yeah,
because I thought it was funny, like it was amusing. I had a lot of issues with it, but it is amusing. So tell the basic story.
Okay, so it's about a drifter. When in the film it says he's from Philadelphia, Philly. It's about a bald social pariah that arrives in Los Angeles in 1969, just as Sharon Tate and company are murdered by the Manson clan.
That's right.
And moves and gets a job as building sets on Paramount, and then quickly is shown how to edit films and becomes a notable film editor that wins a major film festival award and falls in love with a Hollywood starlet who dies, and then he goes mad searching for a lost prince of the Passion of Joan of Arc, the Carl Theodor Dreyer film, and goes crazy.
And dies. So the story's pretty weird.
The story's pretty weird. The novel from that I am a huge fan of, that I remember being this very moody, it is funny, but more of a moody character piece that was not intended to be an audience crowd pleaser. And I think Franco tries to stay close to that spirit, but it gets lost in it, because the movie that James Franco's character, Viker, with a K, does get to edit a movie he did not direct, but it is, I remember it being in the novel, and it's been a decade since I've read it, an adaptation of the classic European novel The Damned by J.K. Huisman, which is about a story about a man going mad, and he edits it in such a way that he wins a prize at Cannes in the novel, because he accepts an award alongside Isabelle Huppert, who won Best Actress that year at Cannes. Anyway, so I think what Franco is doing is trying to turn it into a weird love fantasy between him and the Megan Fox character. What's her? I'm forgetting her character name now.
Oh, it's Soledad, because
Soledad.
I think it's funny.
Yeah. So it turns into more this doomed love tale than I think that's more omnipresent than it was in the book.
Okay. Which is fine, right? I mean, he's adapting a...
It's fine.
So he can do whatever he wants, I guess.
And it's notable because he has he's bald, and he has a tattoo of Liz Taylor and Monty Clift from the 1951 George Stevens film A Place in the Sun on the back of his head, which seems to have been a formative film for him.
He says it's the first film.
It's the first film he's
ever watched, and the first time he watched the film was well in adulthood.
Yeah.
So the things I liked were, I think James Franco's performance is good. He does a good job of seeming like this sort of like sensitive weirdo who's obsessed with something, that he's passionate about. That obsession kind of gets transferred onto the Megan Fox character, right. Soledad, who I felt like there wasn't a lot to that character.
No, not
Like-
at all. Like, she's beautiful as always.
Yeah, Megan Fox is beautiful, but there's nothing there, so it seemed kind of...
A lot of this seemed very rushed, like his ascent into being this notable film editor.
It took me a second to realize, like, years had passed.
Yes, yeah. He actually has to say it at one point.
Yeah, because he's, like, editing with Jacki Weaver,
Yeah.
who I really liked. She kind of takes him under her little crispy wing.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, all of a sudden he's like a notable editor and being asked to fly to, or an
Venice.
accomplished editor. No, he's being asked to fly to the Philippines.
Oh, yes, yeah.
'Cause he's already-
By Seth Rogen, yeah.
Yeah, so the timing,
There are a lot of jumps that, if I felt familiar with it having read the book, but I think it, as a film coming in cold, it's kind of confusing.
just my initial thought early on right now is I think this might have done better as like a Netflix like miniseries or something. Where it could have been more flushed out.
For a film about a film editor,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I almost wish like Franco, because the book is great. I could see why he optioned the rights to it, but maybe had given it to someone else to direct him in. Perhaps like a film editor to direct him in, like something that, because it's such a unique.
Well, he has a lot of people who he works with a lot. Well, it was filmed 5 years ago.
It was filmed in 2014.
So this is before all his drama.
But I don't think that's why it was shelved. I think
No, but what I'm saying is that he was able to get some pretty
notable people.
in it. So I don't know if just like because they're doing him a favor, he can't rein them in. I don't know. Will Ferrell is like...
Will Ferrell's going apeshit crazy.
Which...
He seems like a character from Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, yes. So it made me laugh, but definitely needed to be reined in. Craig Robinson is in the film as like a burglar. He is that character is just terribly acted and written.
Yeah. Professing love for Sunset Boulevard and My Darling Clementine.
The way he speaks, it also doesn't feel like it's filmed in the 60s.
No, not actually. In quite a few instances, Joey King's dialogue is what the daughter of Megan Fox.
Oh, sure.
Who Franco cast quite a bit, and who was also in Stonewall as the sister, which is set in the same time period.
Okay.
And also doesn't feel like 1960s. Yeah, it just doesn't match the period, the tone.
I also commented this film reminded me like the aesthetics and the mood of, minus the humor, that Lindsay Lohan movie.
Oh God! I know who killed me.
I know who killed me.
Oh, that movie's terrible.
This movie's better than that, but it feels the aesthetic. The other thing is, I feel like it looks like that new video for the Charlie's Angels.
Oh, with
Ariana Grande. God, it's so forgettable because it's so cheap looking. Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus, and Lana Del Rey.
Yes.
It's called like I'm not sure.
Don't Call Me Angel, I
whatever.
think, yeah.
The aesthetic of that video reminds me of this film, which is not good. The mood is kind of off. The tone is off. But again, James Franco's really good. Jacki Weaver I thought was really good.
Yeah, is that
I think Will Ferrell is doing Will Ferrell, so which I enjoy.
Like even Zoolander, his performance in Zoolander comes to mind. That just like almost shrieking.
Yeah. So it's amusing, but I think it sort of takes away from the heart of.
Okay, so I liked this film. I liked Zeroville, Franco's attempt at Zeroville, better than a film called Under the Silver Lake, which was a David Robert Mitchell film, which played at Cannes in 2018, and there are people that loved it and hated it. I loathed it as this odyssey, this neo-noir odyssey of white male privilege in modern day Hollywood.
Okay.
Did not like it. I would be curious to see what you think about it. And I think the tone is similar to what Zeroville is, I believe. It's just, like, for all the outsider perspective that this novel was, and the fuck continuity that they come. Okay, so I had a movie night for A Place in the Sun in 2010.
Okay.
When we lived in Minneapolis, and I printed a chapter from Zeroville and made everybody read it, and it's in here partially with Jacki Weaver's character. It's her explaining how George Stevens shot A Place in the Sun, which was, I fell in love with how Steve Erickson wrote that.
Okay.
And they touch on that a little bit, and it's here in the fuck continuity sequence. But this movie doesn't do that. It doesn't take any of, and Erickson's prose is divided into chapters that I believe count up to 200 and then count down to 200 to 0 to death. And I think that some kind of structure or fuck continuity, lack of structure would have definitely helped. I don't know. I was disappointed, but I've seen a lot worse, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm very resigned about this movie.
Before I knew it was based on a film, so like halfway through watching the film, I thought, oh,
based on a book?
I'm sorry, based on a book. I thought, wow, what a creative story. Mm-hmm. I gave it a lot more credit than it was due, I guess, because it's not original. Yeah, having not read the book, I can't say how it doesn't compare. I don't think that, films like this have to be, replicas of...
No, of course not.
So,
no,
so I'm not judging it on that. I just think it looks kind of cheap. I also thought, for a film about a film editor, it doesn't really seem to flow well, even though he's saying fuck continuity, and I don't need it to be like explicitly in line with what's happening, but it is a little all over the place.
It's a bit jumbled.
In a way that isn't invigorating or
exciting.
It seems to have no purpose.
Which is also, I'm fine with that. Like they show them watching Eraserhead in the film too, and I'm all fine with being purposefully not a crowd pleaser, but then go all the way with that.
Yeah, because you can't do that, but then have Will Ferrell screeching and kind of making me giggle every few moments.
Right. And then this weird emotional thing with Joey King rejecting him.
And then this love affair with Megan Fox, who, it just is not clear to me why he's so infatuated with her, except for her being beautiful. Mm-hmm. And
who is playing this woman who missed out on being being the Monica Vitti character in La Ventura, or a seminal part in Altman's The Long Goodbye.
I do think this film is worth a watch. It's like, I mean, it's something different. For people, I enjoy film. We live in LA. It's fun seeing it. It just didn't capture...
I don't think it rightly captures the vibe it's going for, but there are ideas there still that I like the notion of being haunted by a film, like he's literally haunted by a place in the sun, and I think that still registers with me because I feel like I have a similar relationship with Suddenly Last Summer, which is Monty Clifton and Liz Taylor, and that's the quote on my chest. But
oh yes, okay.
But so I think there were a lot of things that really attracted me to the original text that are still kind of there in the film. I just wish somebody else had done something more interesting with it. I don't think I finished either. It was shelved for 5 years because Alchemy, the distributor, owned it, and then they went bankrupt. So it's being distributed by a new distributor called myCinema, I think.
Okay.
But
also, Dave Franco plays Montgomery Clift, and I do think he looks like him.
You do?
Like the profile.
Yeah, and they shoot him in profile.
Yeah, so he does. So I was like, oh wow, he really does look like him.
I guess.
I mean, it's a nice effort for someone who didn't know anything about this story. It was engaging enough for me to stick with it. The ending kind of drags.
It does,
a little.
I'd be interested in seeing Franco play this role, but with not all his buddies surrounding him.
I didn't need any.
I don't need Danny McBride and Seth Rogen and.
No, I didn't need. Any of the usual players.
Right, because I think they're distracting, and
they are very distracting.
I think it would be interesting to have him alone, like this character is supposed to be this island amongst this other weird cohesive culture,
and filmed. It's almost like the filter is muted, I don't know the terms for these filters, but it seems muted and gray. It's not black and white, but it's just very gray.
Yeah.
I didn't love. I don't know. It's not a very pretty film to look at.
No, there are moments there's some vibrant sequences.
Yeah, but it just, I don't know. Maybe it's just because of the way it's shot, and which lends to it seeming kind of cheap. But
it does, because the visual palette is also trying to work with the transition of the period going from 1969 to 1980, and they're trying to throw so much in there too, like CBGB and blah, 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 these nightclub sequences that are out of sync with early 70s Hollywood as well.
Yeah, I would give this film 2.5 out of 5 stars.
I'm gonna go with a 2 out of
okay.
5 because I have such reverence for the novel.
Sure.
Because I feel the weird thing is, like, if you love cinema, you should read Zeroville before seeing the film.
That book looked thick. How many pages is that?
I don't know, like 300. It goes. I couldn't put. That was one of those books I could not put down.
Okay.
You don't remember making me read?
I might read it. Well,
I made you read.
I need
that
a book to
chapter.
read next week when I'm in Florida. Maybe I'll.
Okay. Yeah, I love it.
No, actually, what I want to read is Betty Davis's daughter's book.
I know.
I need to read it.
It's out of print, and I paid a lot of money for that paperback. By the way.
No, I don't know where it is, but
I do. It's
Okay.
with her films.
Okay, great. All right.
All right. Bye.